Hello again. Hey, I'm here with Booga today. Yesterday it was Uga, today it's Booga. Uga's sister. Not my names, but they were rescues. I call them the babies because they are very small, petite little black kitties. And Booga is in a... You might even be able to hear her purr. Let's see if we can get a little bit of that going. She's pretty... Oh my goodness. Anyway, she's purring, and I'm thinking it has to do with, because I'm talking about resonance, frequency, vibration, and a purr is all of those things. And the human body and a cat's purr sync at the same resonance as healing. It's a healing frequency. So from what I've read, if you have corrections, please note them in the comments. Note the error of my ways, but that's just what I've heard. So anyway, Book is going to sit with us today, at least for a little while. And we're going to talk a little bit more about frequency, resonance, vibration. So before we get going, whoever's watching, come to your basic breath, which is breathing only in and out through the nose, tongue to the roof of the mouth, and we're centering on the diaphragm, so it's belly breaths or diaphragmatic breaths, with our exhale longer than our inhale. Again, I know it gets exhaustive if you watch my videos, but the reason we do this is to come into the body a little bit more. So we're not so much in the head. When we engage the entire body for listening, growing, participating in the world, then we are inviting a much broader range of vibration to interact with what we are discovering, learning, participating with, and contributing to. So when we engage the body, we really root and anchor our entire nature, our entire physical, sensual, perceptive nature with the larger piece of us, which I would argue it includes all of the life force that is on the planet, all of the energetic force that is everywhere, all of the life force that is everywhere. So we are engaging more deeply with the planet, with the solar system, with the sun, with the galaxy. Really, really cool stuff, okay? So, boy, I've got little booga hairs floating all around here. Not booger, Booga, the kitty's name. Her little black hairs are tickling my face. So, so by engaging with this breath, we engage the system and not just the brain. So we activate something much larger than just that thinker that we are. And this is how we begin to see ourselves not just as conceptual, sensual beings, but as energetic frequencies. Our edges begin to become less finite when we engage the entire body, because the body itself takes its takes its direction not just from the brain, but from the resonance of the earth, the resonance of all that's around. And so when we anchor deeper into the self, we can begin to choose which resonance we prefer and want to engage with. One thing that I mentioned yesterday that I wanted to expand on today is, say you are in a space with someone who is very angry, and even though they may not be giving outward signs, that anger within is creating a frequency. It is a frequency, and that frequency resonates out throughout the local environment, and you, all human beings, are naturally empathic, and you as a spiritual being probably have increased your empathic ability, so you know when they are resonating at a frequency that you may not care to participate in. And so when you have practiced knowing the frequency at which you prefer, when their resonance vibrates out, your frequency might be able to either override them or at least keep their frequency from resonating within you, because you have taught yourself to maintain the frequency that you prefer. So that's coming into your own heart, your own soul, your own power. So really, you can begin with this basic breath. Begin with breath work. Begin with meditation. Feel what it feels like to be calm. Spend your meditations not thinking, not chasing the mind away, but feeling and becoming clear. Okay? One of the greatest assets with meditation is that you are syncing up with that frequency that is within you and that is connected with that is your relationship with the planet and all that is. And so you find out where you really fit. Now, that isn't a thinking space. That's a quiet, resonating space. So when you're meditating, what is meditation? Let's just breathe to begin with. Again, we're trying not to chase thoughts away, but we're trying to focus away from the thoughts. And so that's why when I teach meditations, we really bring our focus down into the solar plexus. We bring our focus into watching the breath. We relocate where the actual physical location of our loci is, which I like to put down here in the solar plexus. We can eventually resonate up to the heart center. All of this contains intelligence. It's not just up here. Intelligence is throughout the entire body. And in fact, we need to begin to feel the body as essential to our greater intelligence, rather than just what's happening up here. Because what's happening up here is oftentimes just an amalgamation of the collective discourse in the moment. And we actually just reflect that back rather than contribute by sinking in deeply within ourselves, within the earth, within the solar system, and all of life that is, another little kitty here, excuse me, all of life that is not part of the human conversation, because the human conversation in so many ways right now is static, and that static is made to distract from our connection. And so let's learn to connect through coming to our breath. The breath leads us into a silent place, and it's not silence in the sense that there's nothing really going on. It's silent from thinkingness. It's silent from the machinations of the brain. And think of the mind as a whole body system rather than just the thinkingness of the brain. The thinkingness of the brain is really actually more just the antenna of our awareness connecting to that conversation and then, bouncing it back and forth. And so when we withdraw from that, come in here, we can come into a much deeper, maybe a more real conversation that is with the consciousness of the planet, of the life that's on the planet, of the animals, the ecosystems, all these things that carry life forward geologically and quantum, endlessly, timelessly, versus the trend of the day, the conversation of the day, the spike of news. And that's really what I feel like can help to, that's to me what I feel like is grounding. Okay. Oh, Uga's in here too. She was under the dresser there, or under the bookcase cabinet thing. So we have two kitties. So that's what I have today. Really, we're talking about resonance, frequency, vibration. How do you raise your vibration? How do you find out what your frequency is? And raising your vibration really has to do with, first off, come to the basic breath. Go back to my earlier videos where I teach you polyvagal release, where I teach you polyvagal toning. Well, so it would be kind of the dorsal vagal release and the ventral vagal toning, because we want to turn down this sympathetic nervous system, turn up the parasympathetic nervous system, and that parasympathetic nervous system has a more intrinsic connection with the frequency of the earth. Okay, whereas the sympathetic nervous system has a more intrinsic connection with the conversation happening right now, which is whatever's in the news, or the human drama that we are seeing playing out continuously and more audaciously. So how do you raise your vibration? Connect deeper with your parasympathetic. Connect deeper with your parasympathetic, then connects you deeper with planetary resonance. Planetary resonance is connected with nature's resonance. Nature's resonance and planetary resonance together also are connected with our solar system, our solar resonance, our galactic resonance. And all of these things are connected, to bigger and bigger and bigger timelines, and then timelessness, and then They go beyond physicality into infinite, into just pure consciousness. And that kind of resonance is the resonance that is more real. And that kind of frequency and vibration is the reality upon which this this play acting that we are part of, that feels like the reality, is a derivative of. And so just a quote from, well, not a quote, a paraphrase from the Bhagavad Gita is that all that is real is eternal. And everything that is not eternal is not real. And so that's anything that's just transient, anything that can break down, that can disappear, even things like solar systems, galaxies. Those things are still, as in that quote, or as in the Bhagavad Gita, not truly real. They're a subsequent vibration that comes about and then goes back away because they're transient. Whereas the vibration from which that came is what reality is based on. And that reality is just pure consciousness itself. And pure consciousness itself is a frequency. And that's it. And so that's why, when we talk about, or when you've heard it talked about not the idea, but the science of creation and manifestation. It's all about aligning your frequency with what your imagination comes up with. And imagination is just another part of frequency. And then it's just all about bringing into this mirror what it is that we want to reflect and feel and experience, however it may be. But I've sort of diverged. Let's get back to just being in our eternal frequency, our eternal vibration. And the simplest way that I know to get there is really just starting with bringing our focus to the solar plexus and watching the breath come and go. And then from there, falling deeper and deeper and deeper into the silence that comes from that. And that silence, again, like I mentioned, is not... It's not absolute, lack of sensory experience, but it's that deeper resonance that goes beyond senses. So that's what I have for you today. If you have any questions, comments, additions, please put them in the comments. We're talking about things that maybe others aren't talking about. So, if you're having a difficulty grasping what we're getting on with, just ask me questions. I do have my courses, the Anatomy of Enlightenment, and I've got the mind, the mind-body breath, or the mind-body breath connection, where we do actual polyvagal exercises. All this is available at Mitchell.com. And you can look for my book. It's the Importance of Flying, with the subtitle A Spiritual Odyssey. And you get a glimpse at how the shift happened for me into the resonance that I am talking about. But if you have any questions about where to find any of this, of course, please just ask me. Thank you so much. Great to be here. Great to see you all. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye-bye.